And welcome everybody to another Nothing Like a Good Book. And you'll love this one. And particularly if you've got any hair problems, listeners, any of you may be losing hair, maybe, looking in the mirror and just thinking, oh God, I hope not. Make sure you listen to this episode. So let me ask you a question, right? How can lasers be used to treat hair loss? If I said that a NASA scientist explains all of this in his remarkable book, would that appeal to you? Well, that's what we're about, and the book is called Grow It Back and serves as an immersive guide to understanding hair, various hair treatments, and laser phototherapy. Now, the best and safest advancement in treating hair loss or hair regrowth is laser phototherapy, known as LPT, which has no side effects and is 8 times more powerful than any drug. And this is according to the former NASA scientist Tamim Hamid. All right, PhD, by the way. Welcome, Tamim, to Nothing Like a Good Book.
Well, thank you. I appreciate it, Mark. I'm honored by being on the show.
You crafted Grow It Back as the first book to cover all aspects of laser treatment for hair. And you reference extensive clinical studies, and you translate decades of research into easy-to-grasp terms. This is what I got out of the book anyway. Anyone can appreciate the benefits of this technology if you can really sort of just understand. It's not all, highbrow stuff. Would that be a fair assessment, you think, of the book?
Yes, thank you for that assessment. When I first started thinking about this, it was actually I was getting really tired of explaining how lasers can stop and regrow your hair. And after explaining it 1,000 times and in conferences and trade shows to physicians and to laypersons, I noticed that, maybe I should write a book about this.
Well, Grow It Back, I guess you're trying to serve it as a benchmark guide to understanding hair and hair treatments, because there's a lot in it. And LPT, through research, development, and innovation, you've been educating readers about advantages of using this LPT over other types of treatment. And let's face it, there's tons out there. Your research is translated into practice with the introduction of Theraderm, which is a revolutionary treatment device. Tell us a little bit about that.
Right. Everything should be based on what is FDA cleared, because when the FDA, when they sign off on a technology or a solution, it's usually 2 components to that. It's safety and efficacy. So will it harm you, or will it actually do what it says it's going to do? So right now there's only, before my invention, there's only 2 solutions. There was finasteride and there was minoxidil. Finasteride is an anti-androgen, which has a lot of side effects, and the benefits versus side effects is sometimes questionable. And minoxidil is, as you know, probably very common, is that you put a topical solution on top of your hair. It's a vasodilator, and it was primarily used before this for cardiovascular applications, for basically high blood pressure. So back in 2011, I went ahead and got the FDA clearance for laser phototherapy. So now there's 3 solutions by FDA for hair loss and hair growth. And so this is an FDA cleared device. I was the first one to submit it to the FDA, and we have what's called a 510K. And about 2011, almost 12 years ago, we got the FDA clearance.
And is this sort of like an exclusivity, like a patent type scenario that you have on this?
Yes, we also have patents, but the FDA clearance does protect us quite a bit, because for any type of unknown treatments that are out there, as you said, there are so many treatments out there that
mate, and a lot of scams, exactly. As well,
Yeah, because this whole industry is marred with snake oil kind of type of products and solutions, goos, and all kinds of stuff. And unfortunately, none of them work, and that's the thing. It was interesting because I what happened was before I started on the book, I go, well, let me read every book on hair loss and hair growth that's ever been published. So I read 28 books on hair growth that's been published since the 1950s to today.
Wow.
And guess what? None of the authors, after going and looking at their pictures and none of them had a full head of hair.
Well, let me ask you this. What inspired you then in the first place to even study hair loss?
Yes, I was a laser engineer at NASA Kennedy Space Center. I was working on the space shuttle system. And so my expertise, I've done my electrical engineering, computer engineering, and also did my doctoral on engineering. And when I was working on space shuttle thermal protection tiles, the tiles that are needed to get back into space. So I invented a few lasers back then. I got Engineer of the Year, and that was 38 years ago. I really loved lasers, but I thought lasers was going to be the future.
Right.
So lasers was my it's my base expertise, I would say.
Okay.
And then so I invented a new laser just a few years ago, and I didn't have a good application for it because the application for the laser was it was really low, what do you call it? Very small and very very low cost. I mean, most lasers, if you say they're hundreds or dozens of dollars, even the laser pointer. But my lasers, we grow it right here in Silicon Valley, and it takes me about 4 months to grow lasers. So I was looking for the application, and I found that, hey, hair loss is a great application for this, because I found a paper from 1965 by a physician. His name is Dr. Mester. He actually did a test on laboratory rats, and he shaved off their heads way back. He shaved off all the hairs in the back of these rats, and he was trying to figure out if lasers cause cancer or not. But accidentally, what happened was the laser wasn't turned on all the way, and as he shaved all the hairs, they noticed that when they applied laser light on the shaven mouse, their hairs would go back much faster than the ones that didn't have laser on it. And this paper, what happened is that this paper was basically buried, and I found it, and that's when I said, hey, maybe there's a chance of how lasers can grow hair. So there's a lot of inventions out there, like Nikola Tesla, for example. He has 700 patents. And, of course, he's credited for AC electricity, the radio, ozone generator, all kinds of inventions. But really only about 4 or 5 out of his 700 inventions are people can figure it out. That's the whole thing. And so there's a lot of technology out there that's buried in old papers or patents that nobody's been able to figure out. And that's what I did. I took an old paper and converted it into a laser phototherapy for hair growth.
Well, I guess you'll be thanking that particular fellow for the rest of your life, right?
I absolutely. I attribute my whole book on him.
Well, Tamim, let me put it this way. No doubt about it that you working at NASA impacted this book, that's for sure. Grady, often I do, I talk about critics and I share their quotes and so on. And Grady Harp, MD, in this particular case, he's a diplomat of the American Board of Laser Surgery, and he says rarely has a science-based book addressing a quotidian disorder, such as hair thinning and loss due to aging and other unwelcome conditions, be so readily accessible and grow it back. And that comes from Grady Harp, and that's what this book actually does. I, like a million others, are clueless when it comes to lasers. I did see something the other day where it's even now on battleships, And we've known the pointer for years there's a workshop going on, but lasers, hair removal, this, that. I mean, its time has come. Let me ask you this. How is laser phototherapy changing, do you think, the future of hair loss treatments then?
Well, if you think about it, people are moving towards more natural solutions for medical health. And there's nothing more natural than light, because without light, without the power of the sun, we cannot live. No plants can survive, no animals can survive. And so lasers are the only man-made type of light. Other lights, for example, from the sun and fluorescent and all that are not, they're just reactions of, let's say, tungsten and an incandescent light or other type of phenomena. But lasers are 100% purely made. And so it was invented in the 1960s. So what happens is you get lasers are unique because they can go deep inside the scalp, the scalp is the second deepest structure, skin structure in our body. So it's really, you need a laser to penetrate, but the laser cannot heat up. That's the whole thing.
I was going to say, one thing's have a laser and it's going to burn the hell out of you. You know what I mean?
Right. Exactly. So our lasers absolutely produces no heat. So that was the biggest challenge, is taking a laser and make sure it doesn't produce any heat, because you're always balancing heat or dosage. You're trying to, on one hand it's dosage, on one hand it's heat. So here, this new laser absolutely produces no heat whatsoever. And once it reaches the bulb of the hair follicle, it starts stimulating that hair follicle, and it encourages to grow by promoting, without getting into the science, is the mitochondria. And that is, if you can stimulate the mitochondria in any human organ or organelle or cell structure, you can stimulate that particular organ. So here we're stimulating the hair follicle, and that's how it wakes back up, because the last thing your body needs is hair, unfortunately. And that's what, that's the truth of the matter. People don't need people really don't need hair. But as they age, it gets worse, because the body puts all the attention back to the core.
Today all the sex has been driven on bald-headed men and shiny and all this. I mean, it seems to have gone the other way at one stage. I mean, I'm very fortunate. I have my mother's hair. I got a head full of hair. Always have. People are jealous of it.
You.
But I've got a son who's losing it, and he's very conscious of it. He's tried different things, and not married yet, 30 years of age.
Yeah,
and
right.
To him, it's another world. So there are people like that. From what I can ascertain, Tamim, broken down into distinct sections, this book, Grow It Back, it really does cover every aspect of hair growth and loss, hair treatments, and LPT, as well as the science behind Theraderm. That's correct, right?
That's right. And when I first wrote the book, I was very careful in making sure that it doesn't have mathematical equations and formulas, and so
you want to sell the thing, right?
Right, exactly. And so, as somebody that's an expert in this, my goal was to make it a 5th grade level, type of reading.
Yeah. So, in effect, you've actually, for Theraderm, you've tried to write the book so that it supports it.
Exactly, it supports the Theraderm, but also the whole theory of laser phototherapy, because you want to make sure that laser phototherapy is covered in the right angle. That most people, they say, oh, let me just put a laser pointer on my head and see if that works. That's not going to work. And I'll tell you why it doesn't do that.
Yeah. The book provides, it really does provide thorough information on Theraderm. Why did you decide to put it in a book format? And what was that process like?
Right. And so because I have had so many questions over the years, and there was always four questions about laser phototherapy. People would ask me. It was the same question every time, so line of questioning. People would ask me, "Does it really work?" Right? How does lasers stop and regrow hair? So I go, okay, I better address this. Then the second question was, is it safe? Is there any kind of type of radiation? Is there any kind of side effect? And then the third is, will it work for me? And people would always say, will it? I have this stage or this stage, and I try to explain that in the book. And then finally is, how long will I need to use it? And those kind of questions for about maintenance and such. So those are the four questions that I got asked over and over again. And that's, I try to make the book so it follows that logic. Here's why it works. Here's about light.
Okay.
Here's about,
all right. Because there's a lot of things I want to get out of here. The thing is, hair loss, there's so much more to hair loss than people understand. Everybody's different. Everybody's unique. Right? There's no one thing that covers all. There's no one cap that covers the lot. The reality is, I guess your laser has to, in some ways, be able to handle all these issues. No matter what people suffer, it will regrow the hair.
Yes.
I mean, that's like a miracle.
That is. I mean, one of the things we found out after many, many years, the earlier you can address the problem, and that's true for any disease, the earlier you can address the problem, the more certain that the laser will work.
Now, let me ask you a question and give me the brief answer. How does LPT, specifically Theraderm, how does it differ from other hair loss treatments on the market? Right.
So one of the things is it's the only device or drug that can stop hair loss.
Well, what sort of drug? What did you call
it? So it's the only device or drug.
Okay.
Sorry. So it's the only device or drug that can stop hair loss. Now, this is a huge milestone because finasteride can't stop hair loss. Rogaine can't stop hair loss or any kind of type of drug. No drug can stop hair loss. So one of the advantages of our product is that if you have hair loss, and everything starts with hair loss. So if you're having hair loss, let's stop it first because you can't grow it back unless you stop the hair loss. So that's what our device or laser phototherapy does at this particular wavelength, and without getting into the technical aspect of it.
But let me understand, you're saying you've got to stop it. What happens if somebody loses all their hair, okay, and particularly, women through, or anybody loses hair going through chemotherapy and so on, right? Are you saying now the laser won't help regrow it back because it was never stopped early enough?
Right. When the only time that laser phototherapy does not work is when somebody has lost so much hair that their scalp is shiny. Have you ever seen, a man? It's mostly men, by the way.
Yeah. I talked about that before. Real shiny, bald heads, right?
Yeah. So when it's shiny, what that means is that the body has lost, or the scalp has lost all that hair on top, and there's a new skin that grew back. It's called the epidermal growth factor, and all it is a new skin, and it only has oil glands and sweat glands. So when you look at somebody that's got so much shininess to their scalp, you can see that the hair is not dead. It's simply a few millimeters below that new skin, and it's almost impossible to come back. So only a hair transplant will work. But anybody else that doesn't have a shiny scalp, laser phototherapy will work for them. And that's what I wrote this book about, is that get it as soon as possible, because when you see, when you
nip it in the bud as quickly as you can. You see any instance whatsoever that you think you're going to start going bald, this is when you move, right?
Yeah. When you see hair on your shower and on your drains and in your comb, get the Theradome. Nothing else will work. Get the laser phototherapy device, because that's the only thing that will stop the hair loss and start regrowing it.
Well, you do explain, in fact, a section of the book is about dispelling myths, answering frequently asked questions. And how did you decide really what myths and questions were important to include?
Yeah, when people would call me or contact me, they would have all these confused kind of type of assumptions. So I took all those and put them in order of from 1 through 15. I cover all 15. There's about 15 myths that I cover, and one of them, for example, is your skin color, right? People always associate that lasers, when you put laser, it's going to burn your skin, right? And darker people are not really, and one of the myths is that, if I'm darker, let's say a darker person, like coming from, actually the darkest people in the world are from the Pacific. Most people think it's African Americans that are the darkest people in the world, but it's actually Indian Pacific Islanders, and those kind of type of people. When you apply real lasers, that they heat up their skin, they cannot use any lasers. But with our lasers, any kind of type of person can use it. Any color of the skin can use, because we produce no heat.
That's right. You touched on that before.
Yeah.
I wanted to give a point. Michael Napolitano. He's the CEO, big company called Hair You Wear. He explains that Tamim's own invention for treating hair loss. He begins with a discussion on the benefits and the uses of light in health and the medical field. And next he dives into the science behind hair, covering everything readers could possibly want to know about hair. So, see, the book isn't just, to flog a machine. The book is about you understanding your head, your hair, and why we even need hair or don't need hair. It includes the phases of hair growth, the types of hair, because there are different types of hair, what causes hair loss, and much, much more. And he says that to have a NASA scientist compile the most innovative and comprehensive information on hair and scalp wellness is one complete resource. It's an invaluable tool for so many. Well, that's a nice wrap-up for you. Grow It Back is the book that we've all been waiting for. So how many men around the world would find this book music to their ears, Tamim? Tell me.
Well, it's actually the majority of our customers are actually women.
Well, okay, interesting. Why?
Well, because when guys lose their hair, they have a lot of solutions. They can just shave it off. They can do all kinds of stuff. They're accepted to lose hair, but you don't see women with a lot of hair loss issues, because every woman that loses hair, they do something about it. Where only 5% of men do something about their hair loss. So when a woman loses their hair, they put a wig or whatever, but there's just as many women that are losing their hair as there are men, and a lot of people don't understand that.
So what percentage of women would it be then worldwide, based on the facts you know?
It's about 50-50. 50% of the men are losing their hair, and 50% of the women in the world are losing their hair. So if there's 8 billion people, if there's 4 billion women and women, 50% of those women will lose their hair.
So there's a potential mass market. Now, is this a home thing or
yeah?
So it's not you go to a clinic.
No, that's the whole concept of this, is that you buy the our device, and then you bring it home with you, and you can wear it. You can wear it at the privacy of your own home while you're watching TV or reading a book.
So it's a thing you put on your head, per se.
Yeah, you put it on your head for 20 minutes.
So I'm visualizing holding some sort of
no, I'm
laser.
sorry.
You know what I mean?
Yeah. It's basically a laser helmet that you put on, and it's very comfortable. You push one button, and it's fully automated, and it does the whole treatment. Then you set it down, and you only have to do this twice a week.
Really? Amazing. And they're being manufactured where?
Right here in Silicon Valley. We're in the heart of Silicon Valley here in California.
Have you started marketing yet?
Oh yeah, we've been selling and selling in 57 countries.
Wow.
Yeah, we just got.
I missed the bus on this one. I would have liked it.
It's good.
I'm looking for something I can flog. You know what I mean?
Well, it's we're in Costco. We're in clinics all across the country.
Are you in Australia?
We're the number. Oh yeah, we're in many parts of Australia. We're in.
Darn it! All right, there's another one gone. Okay.
We've got a few cricket players that are using our product.
Seriously?
Oh yeah. I can't say who, but you know.
No, good on you. Well done to you. No, it's. I'm a bit of an entrepreneur, so I'm always looking for breaks. But in Australia, it used to be very difficult if you wanted to get anything from America. They always wanted a container load. You couldn't just, try and get something exclusive and start off small. So if you didn't have big bucks and could spend $1 million on a container, you'd never get it. It was always the same old, same old. The money makes money. And so, here I am in the States, and I still haven't found anything after 14 years. They're all gone. But I'm looking. So let me ask you this, Tamim. What is the key idea that you want readers to take away from this fabulous book?
Well, thank you. Well, the main idea is that there is hope for hair loss and hair growth for people. And before, we relied on drugs or other type of solutions that were not really effective, especially for women. For example, women had no solution for hair loss. So this book really is to give people hope from an anti-aging point of view. If you look at it, if you get your hair back and if you have more hair, you will look younger, you'll feel better, you have more confidence about yourself. So this book is really to give you back confidence in your life, because for women especially, and some men, of course, it's very devastating to lose your hair. But this is a book of hope and also a scientific solution on how to do it in an easy to read format. And some people, are very excited about how this book was written, that there's no scientific jargons or technical aspect. I don't have any 25-cent words in there or anything like that, or 50-cent words. They're all easy to explain. And when somebody reads this, they'll understand that they will be able to regrow their hair and, most importantly, stop their hair loss.
Well, I think it's a rare skill set combining expertise in medicine, physics, and electronics for that matter. It's a prerequisite for building a cold laser that is successful for hair growth. It's probably why no one has created a light therapy device, designed to regrow hair in their garages until you did it. You know what I mean? Easy to read, extensively thorough. The book is called Grow It Back. It's a guide that'll shape the next stages of hair loss treatment, right? And it's perfect for any reader who is interested in hair. It's a must read. We're coming up to Christmas. Great gift. So let me ask you this in closing. Tamim, do you believe or do you plan on continuing to study hair loss? Do you have any future plans for books or other products?
Yes, absolutely. My expertise is in lasers and light therapy. So we definitely have other products coming on. They're not for hair, but they're for anti-aging, right? It's anti-aging application. So that's what this is. The light phototherapy, the Grow Back book is about how to reverse your aging and through, with hair. But there's other ways to reverse your aging with light that's for different applications. I'm very excited about
I bet you would
what's
be,
coming. Yeah, absolutely.
Well, you know what? I just had a vision. I had a flash.
Okay. Please do share.
Well, I have a little film company, and we do short films, hoping to, get somewhere one day with a feature film. But I just saw a vision where this older guy comes in and he finds something in an attic and he builds the thing. He sits in the thing and he loses 20 years. and he dials it, and he gets younger. Do you ever remember the movie?
Jules Verne.
Well, Jules Verne was one, but there was another one.
The Time Machine.
I love that thing. That was an Australian actor as well.
Yeah.
But this one was about the picture of Dorian Gray. Do you remember that?
Oh yes, okay.
All
yes.
right. So no one ever saw it in the attic, but he never aged, right? He never aged. Now,
Right.
This is a takeaway from that, a little bit different because I'm already aged, but I go back to being young. And it scares the life out of people, you see. What a great little screenplay this could be. All right, so we'll talk about that one. But listen, my friend, this is a fab book. It's your first one, right?
Yes, it's my first book, but I figured that I just know the subject really well. That's the only thing I knew. But I hope everybody enjoys it.
Oh, look, I hope it's a winner from the point of view it means that it gets into the hands of more people that need it. That's the beauty of it. Not so much that, you make millions out of it, but I hope you do. But the reality is, if it's a wonderful product and it's meant to come to the market, it is. And the book is in paperback, also in Kindle. It's roughly, 483 pages. It's available on Amazon, folks. You can get it at Barnes & Noble. All right. But here's the deal. For more information, write this down. That's where do you get a pen or something? Okay, go to this website because then you can read about it and order it if you want as well. But, get some background. https, okay, /growitback.com. So you could do growitback.com. That's all one word, grow it back. How about that? I'd like that idea, grow it back. All right, listen, Tamim, unbelievable stuff. Tamim Hamid. His book is called Grow It Back. It's a brand new one. He's a NASA scientist and, cluey sort of guy who's really doing some good for humanity here because I still think people want their hair back. And it does. A lot of it's to do with psychology. And if it makes people happy, I'm all for it. So, mate, thank you for your time.
And, my pleasure.
It's been wonderful. And all the very best with Grow It Back.
Thank you, Mark. And and if you have any questions, let me know. We're here to help people grow their hair back.
You give me that address again one last time.
Yeah, growitback.com. Growitback.com.
All right, absolutely fantastic. Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Tamim Hamid.
Thank you.
All right, goodbye.
Thank you, sir. Bye bye.